Everybody, it's Misha. Let's talk about your health this morning. How about we talk about my crazy voice? It's been a weird morning, you guys. I've been trying to get my sleep under control, and last night I couldn't get to sleep, so I didn't wake up till late this morning. So here we are. Anyway, you guys, let's talk about insulin resistance. I want to know what you guys are suffering with that you can't seem to explain. Everybody, it seems like that I talk to, has been to the doctor over some sort of health issue and nobody can explain it. You know what one crazy one is that I brought up to my doctor, I brought up to a number of people, and I hear from other people that it's happened to them, this crazy thing where when you eat, even when you're eating healthy food, you feel like you're cold afterwards, like somebody poured cold water over you. You're just like exhausted immediately. You want to go crawl under a blanket and just shut out the world for a little bit. I would literally get goosebumps after I ate a meal, even if I was eating something high in protein and fats and not eating a lot of carbohydrates. I would get just like cold and have these goosebumps everywhere as if somebody was like blowing in my ear. And I kept asking, why does this happen? Why do I get so cold? Why do I get like this after I eat? Nobody, not including my physicians, could tell me what was going on. Do you guys know what that is? It's a thing called reactive hypoglycemia. When you have so much insulin, in my instance, when you have so much insulin coursing through your veins because our food turns into sugar too quickly, that it's like on hyper alert. So it takes what you eat and it delivers it as energy throughout your body. And then now you have this gap between where your insulin is and now your glucose levels or your energy levels in your body have dropped so low that your blood sugars may be even like 60, even though you just ate a meal, because the insulin is doing its job. Reactive hypoglycemia, when you start getting your insulin under control, when you start getting that normalized to where it should be, when it's a happy camper, that stops. I don't get chills. I don't get fatigued anymore after I eat. I don't have any of that. And all I had to do was understand that what we're eating isn't delivering what it's supposed to for us. And I changed that. And now I've reversed my diabetes. I don't have that symptom. I don't have the joint aches and pains. I don't have the swelling. My feet aren't swelling up. Like right now in the day, used to be that my feet would be so swollen I couldn't get them into a pair of shoes already. And I'd have to put diabetic foot socks on. And I had neuropathy in my right arm so bad that I couldn't hold on to a regular glass, much less something this size, because it would just like start to slip. I couldn't grip it. And those were all seemingly unrelated symptoms. We have all these symptoms that people aren't not people, let's say the doctors and us are not piecing them together to understand that these seemingly unrelated symptoms are related. And how are they related? Because of this insulin in our system. So I'm doing my blood pressure just because I want to check and see this morning where it's at. You guys, 93% of us, it used to be 88%, it's now 93% of us are metabolically unhealthy. And that means that our bodies have too much insulin in them. And why does that matter? I keep saying insulin, 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 because insulin is a hormone. So when we talk about all these things in our bodies, it's not just, oh, you need to eat less, you need to exercise more, you need to, whatever the advice you've been given is, we need to start listening to our bodies and understanding that it's more often than not a hormonal issue. So until we get this one primary hormone under control, our health just isn't going to look much different. So this week I'm doing videos, if I can get my butt in gear, doing videos on neuropsychiatric disorders and neurological disorders in relation to insulin resistance. So when there's too much insulin, let's break it back down. Insulin transports energy in the body. Every single cell in the body is susceptible to insulin. Some people call it a fat storing hormone. Yeah, it does that, but that's not its primary purpose. Its primary purpose is to transport energy. Everything in your body, every component has to have something to transport it, right? So when we have food and it turns into, where I'm just going to say energy in our body, the insulin comes out to deliver that energy, and it's my analogy I've been saying lately is, if you think about, like, you have a gas station and it needs a tanker truck to deliver the fuel to it. But all of a sudden, there's in one tiny town, there's a bunch of gas stations, or there's a wrong way around. There's way more fuel than there is gas stations, and so there's all these tanker trucks tearing up the road. That's kind of what happens with our body and insulin. It's not just the sugar tearing up our body; it's the resistance to the insulin that's tearing us up inside and out. It causes malfunction in your gut microbes. It causes inflammation. It causes reduced vascularity, so blood flow isn't getting to places it needs to. It can impede lymph flow. It has so many negative reactions in the body when there's too much of it. And we have too much of it because we're eating so much all the time. We're not supposed to eat every 2 hours, guys. How many people have heard that if you want your metabolism to run properly, if you want your metabolism to kick into high gear, that you've got to eat every 2 hours? How many of you guys have heard that? Because I keep there's other people on here, and I pop on, and I'm checking out other people's lives and stuff, and there's some people saying, eat every 2 hours, eat 5 small meals a day. What happens is you may see some results in the short term. Your metabolism is going to regulate to that. Your hunger signals are going to regulate to that. If you're never allowing yourself to feel hungry because you're trying to feed yourself before you feel hunger, some of those hormones are going to start to dysfunction, and you're going to end up being hungry all the time because they don't know when the right cue is in your body. So eating every 2 hours, eating 5 small meals may work for the short term. I bought into that in my early 20s, and yeah, I stayed pretty lean for a while, and then all of a sudden I started gaining weight like crazy because I was constantly eating. Even though I wasn't eating a lot, I was eating small amounts. I was constantly kicking my insulin levels up. So insulin is supposed to rise and fall with your blood sugars. But what happens is when we're eating all the time, insulin, this hormone, that's the energy transporter, goes up and it stays high. And when we're eating, we're training insulin to stay high. Your body will adapt to whatever you're doing. So if you're reducing your calories so much, your metabolism will start to drop and you're going to have problems. If you're eating too much, your insulin is going to go high and your metabolism is going to regulate up a little bit, but there's going to be a point where it just can't. That's when they say exercise. That's great. I agree with exercise. I'm not saying don't exercise. I absolutely believe in getting up and moving. We all need to move more. We all need to get exercise. But this whole restriction of your calories is not necessarily the right thing to talk about. If you're eating 5,000 calories a day, yeah, you need to take a look at that. But I'm saying when people are telling you to downregulate to like 1,200 calories, your metabolism will go down to match that. And then you start to have problems because when you get hungry, when you go back to having a normal life, because nobody's going to sustain that for long, you start to gain weight back. You start to have problems back again. So like me, I eat. Can anybody guess about how much, Janice, good morning, about how many calories a day I actually take in? Does anybody want to guess? Do you guys even know how many calories a day you take in? So on average, I take in 1,700 to maybe 2,000 calories a day. I'm not tiny and I'm not lean because I have hormonal problems. I'm a woman in menopause. I've overcome, nope, I don't even eat that many shells, but that's a good guess. So I don't take in that many calories a day. I take in, on average 1,700. Now there's days where I break and, I have a treat and it might be closer to 2,200, but on the daily, it's probably around 1,800 calories a day that I take in. Now, that should be a normal or a good amount for somebody my age and size. But in the presence of hormones that are defunct, because I'm menopausal, it looks different for me. And what I want you guys to understand is it is more hormonal than anything. So it's, boy, I'm just off today on a different tangent, and I need my tea. So you guys, one of the primary hormones in the body is insulin. If your body is using up so much energy to produce insulin, and you're already having problems with thyroid or sex hormones or hunger and satiety hormones or cortisol, it's going to get worse because your body's going to prioritize making insulin. So when it's making insulin, it has less resources to make some of the other hormones. Now you're out of balance. So you've got to get your insulin under control, because too much makes problems in the body and too little makes problems in the body. That's why we have type 1 diabetics. But do you know that even type 1 diabetics can become insulin resistant? So the whole thing becomes back down to our food and how we eat and what we eat. So how is it that type 1 diabetics become insulin resistant? Because they're facing the same things as we are. They're having to inject insulin or have an insulin pump to address the insulin need in their body when they eat. But they're having the same problem as us, where when they eat, the food converts to energy too quickly, and then they need insulin too much. So the system that I use, look, 2 years ago, I found a protocol that helped me. Woo, I woke up and started running before my brain caught up to me. 2 years ago, I had diabetes, I had hypertension, I was sick, I couldn't get up and down off the floor. I was pretty much bound to my couch because I was in so much pain, it just hurt to move. And then I stumbled on a system that's 2 real food products that helped me reverse all of that. And that's when I started to understand what's going on with our food. I didn't know. I was just desperate to try anything to help me get my health back. And lo and behold, these 2 drinks that I have at 3 points during the day changed everything for me, because it addressed the problems I'm talking about. It addressed the fact that our food turns to energy too quickly, and it slowed that down so my body could catch up, actually recognize what was being put into it, and utilize it in a proper manner. So I had skin tags on my neck, under my arms, in my groin, and it was starting to drive me crazy. I thought, like, this is just my life now. I'm a grandma. This is how things are. And I thought I was going to have to live with them for the rest of my life. And I now see skin tags on people who are younger. And I know I used to work in a doctor's office. We had an esthetician in the office, and she would be addressing people's skin tags. You know, they cut them off, they laser them off, they band them off. You guys, you don't have to do all of that. When you get your insulin under control, the skin tags go away. It's a sign and a symptom of insulin resistance. So you guys, I want to talk about what is important to you. So is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Is anybody having problems that they're going to the doctor for, or they're afraid to go to the doctor for, things that are showing up in your life and your health that you just don't understand and you can't seem to piece together? So I will go over some of the things that I was suffering with that nobody was piecing together. And maybe if you guys resonate, let me know. And I know that everything that I went in the doctor for, I would just get like, if you would lose some weight, you would feel better. And I'm like, yeah, doc, I know. And I'm trying, because I've done keto and I worked out like crazy, like 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I still was not getting better. So Shells is pre-diabetic. Shells, do you mind sharing with me what's going on with your pre-diabetes? And Rainey, we know what. So pre-diabetic, what are you feeling? So yeah, anyway, I had blood work done, like blood work. I did saliva testing, I did urine testing, I had CAT scans, I had all of these things going on, all these medical tests, expensive, right? And nobody could figure it out. Yeah. Losing weight will help everything, but how do you lose the weight when you're trying? Because most of us are trying, right? Like, I get it. We get despondent. We get like, okay, full disclosure, I did all the right things for so long. Keto, less than 50 grams of carbohydrates a day, most day less than 30 grams of carbohydrates a day, ate clean and didn't eat out, and did all the things, right? And I was working out constantly, couldn't lose weight. And so I did veganism for a while. And then I thought, well, maybe it's that you're having an intolerance to gluten. Just don't have gluten for a while. Did that. Felt a little bit better. Inflammation went down, but I just wasn't losing the weight. I wasn't getting where I wanted to be. And I'm like, doc, what do I do? So one doctor, you guys, by the way, can I give you a if you guys do want tests for hormones, write this down, pay attention, because most people are getting your blood work done, your tests done through blood work, right? So I want you to understand that your hormones are at different levels throughout the day, at different points during the day. When you have your blood work drawn, your testosterone may be high, your estrogen may be low, your progesterone may be out the window, and your DHEA may be somewhere in between. And they're really testing for some of those hormones. But they're getting one snapshot at one specific point during the day. Because an hour later, your testosterone could have been bottomed out and your estrogen could have been way through the roof. So blood work, and the other thing with blood work is that the hormones, you have these red blood cells and they're like cupped, right? Little platelets. When we do blood work, we spin those platelets off and keep the serum. That's this clear liquid that comes out of your blood. When we spin the platelets off, most of the hormones are stuck in that little cup of the platelet, and only a small amount is left in the serum. So you're not getting a really good picture of your hormones. Does it give you an idea? Yeah, it does. A better test would be a saliva test where you're spitting into a little tube 3 times a day. Okay, that's going to give you a little bit better idea of what your hormones actually look like. This one's more expensive. It generally costs about $300, I think. But if you really want to know what's going on with you, the best test you can do for hormones, so you can understand where that is a 24-hour urine. So you start collecting your urine at the same time at a point in the morning, and every time you go, you collect the entire thing, and you send in a sample of that entire day's worth of. You're not sending them the whole thing, but you take a sample, you mix it up and send that sample. And now what's happened is throughout the day, through all the highs and lows, we've gotten a better idea of your hormones. That goes into a lab, and now with that, they're not just testing your testosterone, DHEA, estrogen, and progesterone. They're testing all of the like granddaddy hormones, like pregnenolone, which some of the other ones are made out of, and you can see a better picture of your metabolic health through that. So some of you who really just want to know, what do my hormones look like? What do I really need to address? I would do a urine test if you can afford it. Some insurances cover it. Most do not, Tracy. I had to pay out of pocket for that. And interesting in how part of how we understood that, I worked for a doctor that was really great and liked to let me be a guinea pig just as much as I liked to be a guinea pig. So we did all the different tests on me at the same time to see what was going to come back, what was going to show up and how it was going to look. So we had one person at the same time with different tests, and it allowed us to have this range of what's the answer going to be. Well, through that, and I still to this day like the 24-hour urine test. I'll probably have it done again this year just to make sure, because I'm in menopause, where my hormones are, right? But one thing we found in all of that was they were able to run a metabolic test out of that same sample of urine. And what happened was it came back as type 3. We're going to call it metabolic syndrome. And the doctor just looked at me and said, "You have the worst metabolic type that I could have had come back, and I was afraid of this." And she just literally looked at me and said, "There's nothing I can do for you. You're always going to be heavy. You're always going to be hungry. You're always going to be in pain. And there's just nothing I can do. You're never going to look or feel like a normal person." So then years later, you go into another doctor because you need a surgery, and the doctor says, "Well, you know what? If you would just lose some weight, if you just cared enough about yourself and lost some weight, you would feel better. And I'm not going to do the surgery until you lose some weight." So, wow. And I know I'm not the only one who goes through that. But I at least had the opportunity to have that blood work done that showed me that, hey, this is a hormonal problem. But even at that, my doctor didn't give me the answer. So when I have people hop on here, my mind is just going all over. Um, it and tell me I don't know what I know, it just cracks me up. So okay, so shells, I didn't mean to ignore you. You can't sleep, you're tired, and you don't eat a lot. Exactly. So um my brain is in three different places. Can't sleep, tired, don't eat a lot. Well, let's deal with the can't sleep part first, okay? When you have insulin resistance, it causes a dysfunction with cortisol. Cortisol causes dysfunction with insulin. Insulin causes dysfunction with cortisol. And so you really have to work on getting sleep. But there's neurological things going on with your brain. I would still address the insulin resistance first. And you already said you're pre-diabetic, so we already know that you have way too much insulin in your body. And that's causing this misfiring in your brain that, number one, it can make it so that you don't know when to sleep, or that it's triggering activity when you should be resting in your brain. Maybe your brain is feeling like it needs energy, and so it just doesn't want to sleep because it's like, I need to be up and working. Anyway, insulin resistance causes a number of those problems in the brain, and how the glucose is taken up, how dopamine is produced, how the neurons fire and the spaces between the neurons, how they look and whether they're healthy or not. So just addressing your insulin can help you sleep better. Okay. I mean, there's a couple of things. I just had this conversation yesterday, but if you're having problems sleeping, this is tough because I struggle with this all the time too. Okay. But I'm going to encourage you to get any blue light things out of your bedroom, and make sure your bedroom is a place to sleep, so that your body knows, when I go in here, I'm going to sleep. You're going to have nights where you're going to lay there and you're going to struggle to sleep. Yep. Fasting does fix that issue. Guys, I spent like 3 hours to do this video last night, and it's only gotten a couple hundred views. But I mean, it's all right. I kind of figured that was going to happen. I talk about that in the video, like you with brain fog, which is still linked into all of this. They will say, oh, don't fast. Some will say don't, some will say do. So I want you to think about this, you guys, when we're talking about brain health and whether you can sleep or not, or whether you're having brain fog or not. Florida Cop, by the way, good morning. I was thinking about you the other day. I haven't seen you in a while. Fasting absolutely helps correct that, because there's a couple of reasons. Our insulin levels are going down, our glucagon levels are going up. When glucagon is up in the body, we have more mental acuity. Okay, we can think clearer, we can address things clearer. I know this isn't necessarily sleep right away, but when we're talking about brain fog, it allows a more normal production and uptake of dopamine when you do some fasting. So if we think about it, when we were like hunter gatherers back in the day, before we had food that we could just go to a fridge and get, or go to the grocery store and get something because we're out, when we didn't have food, it meant we had to be on point. We had to be really mentally aware to be on the lookout for our next source of food. So fasting, when we get into that state, cues our brain to function more clearly. We actually have clearer thought. You're not having this brain fog or hangriness. Geraldine, hold on a second. So do some fasting. That absolutely helps. I think I'm at, like, I normally, my eating window has narrowed down, so I'm fasting about 18 hours every day. Next week, I think I finally got through all the stuff in the fridge that had to go, so I'm going to probably do an extended fast because it's so healthy for you, and I will do some videos on that. But Geraldine, you're on the system for 5 months. There's so many things that I don't know. I don't know if you're getting in enough fats. If you're not getting in enough fats, you're going to be constipated. If you're eating more often than then you're using your balance, you're going to have a problem. Also, your gut is probably just really unhealthy because of the way that you have been eating. And it's not, I'm not pointing a finger because we've all been there, right? But your body has not been dealing well with the food because it doesn't have the fats in it or the fibers in it that it needs. So a couple of things you can do besides drinking loads of water, which is going to help you. I would try doing a cleanse or adding in like the aloe laxative at night to help soften things up and move them along. The other things would be, I don't know what kind of movement you're doing, if you're very sedentary or if you're very active. The more active you are, the easier that's going to be for your body to move that waste along. The more sedentary you are, the longer that's going to be hung up. And also, if you're still very constipated at 5 months, it just means that you were having some really bad gastrointestinal issues before you started the system. It does get better. Mine, I had IBS. I have not had constipation for a long time. So mine was the other way. And it took me almost a year to get my gut back in a decent normal function. But I still to this day know that if I eat certain things, it's going to blow right out, right? So unhealthy fats, seed oils, vegetable oils will cause that. Too much sugar will cause that. So if you're drinking sodas or carbonated drinks, that's going to dehydrate you. Besides the water, try adding, if you drink your tea in the morning hot, try adding some MCT oil to your tea in the morning. That will help. And then just be more active during the day. Call me, use the link and call me or text me, and let's have a conversation and see what we can pinpoint, because there's so many things that go along with that I don't know that's going on in your day. And I'd love to be able to help you out and understand what could be happening with you. So I hope that helps. So move more. I'm just thinking, if you sit, do you sit a lot, Geraldine? Answer that for me. This has nothing to do with the system, but you guys, when you sit, okay, so our body, our hips right here, when we're sitting a lot like I do, and most of us do at our jobs now, we're like this. This point is pinched, right? So we have not only blood flow that's running through this area that's kind of folded up and pinched, but we have lymph flow that goes through there too. All of that affects your intestinal tract, affects your rectum. It affects how you get rid of waste. Yeah, so that's part of it. So I would encourage you, I think if you go to YouTube and look up lymphatic massage, if you want, Geraldine, get a hold of me. Let me write down your name. Get a hold of me after. I'll give you the name of a gal who does a lot of lymph massage. And if you're not able to move a lot, this might be the next best thing for you, to start getting some of that moving to allow your intestinal tract to start emptying. Because that's probably a majority of what it is that you're just not getting enough movement in. And some of that stuff is just backed up. So we can be releasing everything throughout the rest of the body. But this really is, you guys, I am not a holistic coach. I do the best I can and I learn where I can. But I believe in a holistic approach. So the system is amazing. It's going to do a big portion of the work for us. But that doesn't mean that this is the only thing we do, right? We have to move. And I know, because I was in so much pain. Remember, I had a cane and a walker and disability plates, and people made fun of me for my disability plates. It's horrible how bullying people are. And I was having some of the same issues. I just try and get up and walk now. I mean, mostly not because I'm in pain, but just because I sit at this desk all the time and do some other movement. Because there's a ton of things you can do, like with Qigong and whatnot, in your own home. That's gentle movement that's going to help you start getting all of that going. It doesn't have to be crazy workouts in the gym. Like if I was still 30 years old, would I be in the gym pounding weights? Probably, but I'm not. I'm 59. I think that I need to be weak now? Nope. But I also understand that my body reacts differently. So I want you to move a little bit more. Try I would definitely try the cleanse. That's going to get stuff moving. Trust me, that will get stuff moving and help you. But the cleanse, I think, let me check and see if it's still in my, if I have it open in the, I need to go through here and close some of these things down, you guys. I have links to everything in my world, and then I leave it up, and then people get confused. So the cleanse, I'm gonna go in and close down a few things in my link tree, and then go in and get the cleanse and try that. 5 months in, you should be moving through quicker than you are, and especially with not being able to move as much. And trust me, you've already done the cleanse. Did you just do it 1 month? So here's the thing with the cleanse. Again, it depends on everybody, what your activity level, what your lifestyle has been, all of that. I know people who have done the cleanse for 3 months. I have done it for 2 months. I generally do it for 2 months at a time now because I'm 59 and my pipes are gunked up, right? So I want to make sure that that gets cleaned out and cleaned out well, and that my liver's clearing up and all of the good stuff that comes along with the cleanse. I would have done, I would have advised you to do the cleanse for 60 to 90 days if you're still having constipation problems. Um, and then on top of that, I think, and I don't want to be alarming to anyone, but if you're having severe constipation, have you been to the doctor to have, when was the last time like you had a colonoscopy or any of that done? Because I don't want to pretend that the system is going to do everything. There could be something else going on, and you need to address that. But so if do you have any of the aloe vera tablets left over? Because you could do those to help you out there. I think that's going to look better now. Less confusing. That looks better. Okay. So yeah, if you're drinking tons of water, all that, just move more. Try and move more. And even if it's like you can't get up and move, I would invite you to just, like, even if you can lay on your back and get your legs moving, in any form. But get a hold of me, and I'll give you the name for this gal who does shiatsu, lymphatic massage, and that might help you. It might be the next step for you to get help with that particular problem. Okay. I like it when people ask questions and we get to talk about some things, because I don't like to sit here and just say stuff to try and talk. But okay, guys, Geraldine, does that help? You know what? Somebody else, was that you that asked me about MS yesterday, Geraldine? Okay, if I find, okay. I know this more. I've had a hard time um feeling, you guys, just in full disclosure, I was telling my daughter this, like, all of us on this side of the camera, you on your are the same as you guys. We have days we want to do things, and we have days when we're like, ugh, something that we normally would enjoy is just feeling painful. And I'm kind of feeling like it's hard to do videos right now. I don't know why, because I really love giving you guys information, but it just is not happening for me right now. So I apologize. I do need to get in and get some of these questions answered. So I'm going to really try to do that today. All right. Because I am going to go, though, right now and get some content made and see if I can actually do some intelligible videos on, like, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism this week, because that's what I'm addressing. And we'll see you this afternoon at 3, and then again in the morning. Tomorrow I won't be live, probably at 3. I don't know. I have a big day, and I might not be out and about. I would, for MCT oils, they're, Just make sure they don't have a lot of extra additives. So Linda, what I'll do is I'll go on and find an MCT oil that I think is good. I get mine from Amazon. I can go and find the one that I get and I'll put it on my recommendations page. I like to make sure that things are as pure as possible and have as little additives and have not been drenched in things like hexane and whatnot, and that they have a good a good percentage. Some things will be called, so MCT oils are a very small portion of coconut oil. So some MCT oils contain more of the MCT and less of the other components, and others contain just enough to be called an MCT oil, but they're still containing a lot of the other oils that your body or other components that your body just is not dealing well with. So let me get that up on my recommendations page. I'll go do that right now. And so if you guys want to know, when you look at my link tree, there is my recommendations page down here. And by the way, I haven't done this yet, so we'll do that too. But if you look at my recommendations page, people ask me about my glasses all the time, but like the ketone monitor that I use, the watch that I'm wearing that I check my blood pressure with, and all of that is all in here. The books, Dr. Bickman, Dr. Fung, I think Dr. Yao is in there now too. All of those books that I refer to are all listed in there. So just go to my recommendations page. I will find those MCT oils and get them on this page for you guys. Okay, so Linda, give me about 5-10 minutes and that will be added to that page for you. So again, all of this stuff is here, including like because I have no gallbladder, I take ox bile every morning and I do digestive enzymes when I eat. You guys, that's important too. If your liver is not functioning properly, make sure, and Geraldine, that just triggered for me too. You might want to add in some digestive enzymes. That might help you. That would be a good thing to add to your day. I take them when I eat my 2 meals. I take these digestive enzymes each time I eat because I know that I've already put my liver through so much hell. So yeah, Dr. Yao is in there. The Diabetes Code Cookbook by Dr. Fung, a great resource if you're really wanting to get this whole thing under control. All of that's there. I will get the MCT oils added right now when I get off. I promise I won't move until I get that in there. But yeah, I try to get MCT oils in every day. Guys, I don't know. Whoop. You don't need to see all my spreadsheets and stuff. Okay. We have a coffee that has some coconut creamer in it, but has anybody tried the Unimate that has MCT oils in it? My daughter and I were talking about this yesterday. So before I head out, and I didn't do that other part, but we have the tea that we drink in the morning. We have one with MCT oils in it. I don't particularly myself like the caramel flavor. Other people absolutely love it. So it's just a thing with me. Yeah, vitamin D is a very different thing than MCT. So I take vitamin D daily also, but I take it in the form of our Bone Fortify. So the Bone Fortify has calcium, magnesium, D3, and K2 in it. And I drink this every night before I go to bed. So the person who was talking about having sleep issues, like I think that the system does a great job, but there are certain nutrients that we still need. So the Bone Fortify helps with your metabolic health, helps with, you know what, Geraldine, and thank you, Linda, because you're helping Geraldine out now. So Geraldine, the other thing with another thing that you could try. I don't know if you guys understand. Most of us are deficient in magnesium. And one of the ways that you tell when you're getting enough magnesium in is when you start having to go to the bathroom. Like, you'll have to go really bad if you take too much magnesium. But on the other hand, magnesium, if you're feeling stopped up and you take, like I've been taking 2 scoops of this at night, not because I'm stopped up, just because I feel intuitively that I need the extra magnesium right now. But this has D3 K2, magnesium, and calcium in it. But it also has some vitamin C. So Geraldine, this might help you too. If you take this before you go to bed, it's going to help you sleep better. For the person who is having sleep issues, Geraldine, it can help you with that emptying of your bowel system in the morning. So I hope that helps. I do. So let's talk about that really fast before I hop off. Besides the system, which I love, right? Like I'm not ever going to go a day without it. My kids have been slow to come around, but now they see Mama has done it for 2 years. They're going, there might be something to this. So besides this, what I do in a day are, because I had heart problems, I take our CoQ10. Because I have ADHD, I do our omega 3s. I do the D3 in the form of this. And what's the other things? I do, because of my menopause, I do take some DHEA and vitamin C. So on top of the system, those are the things that I take. But I no longer, you guys, there was a time when I was competing that I didn't realize. I just kept getting stuff because I was trying to be healthy, and I had this whole list of things that I had to do. I've always been that way, and I was probably spending $500-600 a month, and wondering why I was going broke on all these things to try and fix my health. Now I pick the things that I absolutely need, and those are them. That's what I do. I don't have. Gosh, I was watching Brian Johnson. Do you guys all know who he is? He's reversing his aging. He sold Venmo to PayPal, and he spends like $2 million a year on his health, and he has this really regimented life. But he takes 60 pills in the morning and 60 again in the afternoon. 120 pills that he takes in a day to try and be a vampire.